So
you're just gonna act like that wasn't my idea? You just gonna act like I didn't tell you to do that? This is what it's like to work in a male-dominated industry. You see how that escalated?
That we.
Do you see me as a big dog?
Yeah.
Like, really?
Yeah, I think you are intimidating.
You think I'm intimidating?
Yeah, I think you're not. I think you're not to be trifled with, not to be taken lightly. Is actually ours. That's the thing. That's why it's like it's really hard to let go of that ego with our ideas because we think they come from us and they don't come from us. They come from much more of a source, and so it's important for us.
Oh my God! He said ideas come from source.
Us to appreciate that fact and
be careful who you marry.
Just forever grateful.
They might just take your ideas. You gotta be careful.
We stop. Stop. Oh my God, what the fuck?
So Tabari, welcome to Cook Til Done.
Thank you for having me. Thanks.
The man behind the camera.
It's me over there. It's been me the whole time.
It's been you the whole time.
The whole time.
Surprise.
The whole time. Couldn't tell.
You couldn't even tell. Mm-hmm. Actually, you absolutely can tell.
Except for that one time, episode 3, when I clapped from the camera, the episode started. Yeah. Well, that was it was a stylistic choice, but like most stylistic choices, it had to happen.
So that's actually a great segue into what I wanted to ask you about was from the perspective of a director and someone who was leading the shots, creating the shots. What was that process like? Because I know every episode's a little bit different.
Yeah. How
did that all come together?
It was definitely a fun project. Definitely one of the most, I felt my most current, my most like self, like most like, this is me currently as a director, as a creator, like in the now of things. As we shot the rest of the episodes, it was easier to shoot them.
Yeah.
And to let myself be a little more, be okay with the idea of the camera being like moving a lot. Because for a long time, I really like didn't like, you don't see the camera move when it's not like an intentional.
Yeah.
You know? And I think with making someone else's content and making like certain things is that, but for this docu style and for like our styles, we honing it, I really started to really fall in love with that. I'm just here with the camera and I'm capturing the conversation and I didn't catch everything, but I caught these big moments and I'm here with one camera, like just 2 cameras. Let's go behind the scenes. There's 2 cameras for this. Like, there's one camera on y'all for the wives. There's one camera that I'm getting the close-ups with to create the personal. And I was worried about the whole time. Like, I was always worried about would it look amateurish? Would it look like good? What if I miss a shot? I was so worried about it. But as I was just kind of going through and shooting more of them, I focused on just getting the best moments and just like trying things the whole time and getting close-ups and trying different angles and knowing that I could reiterate each day. And it led to like more and more into like, I think my favorite moments of my career is like shooting outside with Heidi.
With Heidi.
For Rooted Fair.
Yeah.
And to get those shots and editing an episode was just so cool. It was so epic because I'd never done anything like that before.
I'm also so glad that we shot with Heidi later.
Yeah.
Because we worked out our style by then.
How to get the shots in.
So we knew exactly what shots to get, how it would make sense in the episode. Even though the first episode I love, we were like, are these shots usable?
Yeah.
Because we felt like things were missing. But that was a happy accident, though.
Because things were missing, mostly because again, the 2-camera situation, y'all are on opposite sides of it. So it's like, I can't shoot both of y'all without being in the shot. Like, I have to be in the shot to get the shot. Then I have to, like, so logistically, it didn't make, I wouldn't try to set this the way if we thought about it more, but we wanted to just, like, get the shot. We had time with them. We wanted to just, like, Mogu Magu, we wanted to just get that stuff done and have the conversation. And we had a concept already. Before we really had the concept of the show, we were like, we're going to sit down, and we're going to, like, have this tea ceremony with the cannabis, and we're going to have this conversation around this, and we'll talk about feminizing consciousness. That really was the prototype for the entire show. And
it got us our first sponsor.
Talk
to me about, this is actually a really funny story of how we got our first sponsor with Made Farms.
Yeah.
Talk to me about how that even happened, because you were the one that actually scored that for us.
Yeah, this is another crown achievement. This project, y'all.
At this stage of our YouTube channel as well, which is so crazy to have a sponsor so early on. Yeah,
and the sponsorship, it was, I took a book out of the page on Neysa's book. We're just like, let's just see what happens. So Neysa found, besides Mogu Magu, Neysa found the rest of the guests. And so with that, I wanted to find ways to contribute to the show. And so I wanted to have this full circle moment. I had this idea to find a full circle moment with, so Tina Gordon at Made Farms, which is that's the cannabis we're smoking in the first episode of Mogu Magu. They are very close with Mogu Magu. They like always sponsor and like give the flower for their events. And also shout out to Mogu Magu always. Y'all go, if y'all in LA, come to LA and go to Mogu Magu events.
Yeah.
Get you something.
Honestly, let's just like create a little bit of space. Like Mogu Magu. When people are like, what do I do in LA? Go to Mogu Magu.
Plan your whole trip to LA around
the Mogu Magu event. Because the thing about it is you're going to see real LA natives, people who have been here, people who are truly embodied in the LA culture. Number one, the location of it is absolutely gorgeous because it's in Chef Wendy Zing's event space, and it's a literal dream.
They built around just for that purpose.
It's a dream. It's a garden. It's an event space. It's outdoors. It's beautiful. It's ethereal. And the food is always going to be amazing. And the people you meet there will then give you the next thing that you can go and explore in the city. And I think it just, extends. And next thing you know, you have this really rich community.
Yeah. It's a space too you can go where it's a cannabis centered event and you wouldn't have to smoke at all.
You wouldn't have to smoke. Like, there's no pressure.
There's no pressure. There's no like ribbing. And then like it's good people. As someone once said, nice and safe.
Right. Like literally, if I had that kind of culture around cannabis, I wouldn't have been such a late bloomer around it. And that's actually how we found out about Made Farms, because they were featured at one of those events. And then when we did the episode, we ended up talking about their flower on that episode.
And what makes their flower so special too is they're sun grown. But hers is like 100% outside, everything. And it's in like California, Northern California, Humboldt. And the whole time, like, because I was filming it, like I was behind the camera, there was no way for you to like reach in and like puff. And there was no way for you to like imbibe, like kind of or partake. And I was like, and then I'm like, and editing it, I'm just like it's just like it's just
you couldn't partake at all.
Like watching them literally, this like, and the clouds and the shots, like that's in the episode had this dreamy effect, mostly because I was trying to like emulate because each episode tried to emulate the feeling of the episodes, and some of those were easier than others, especially when we're like doing a thing. And so with them, and because I didn't have a lot, what I was saying earlier, I didn't have a lot of shots of you. I had shots of the wides and a couple shots of it like inserts, but I didn't even have a lot of shots of you because you didn't have a dedicated camera.
Right.
And so I had to get really creative with what to do when she was like talking. And that kind of led to, was an original intention was to stay on the guests and people more, but it led to a space where we're talking more and kind of drift away. And so it for me, it's very dreamy. Like the idea of Cook Til Done is more of a dream, more of a feeling, because you're in it and you're talking, and it's like when you're like subjective, when you're talking about something over food, you're kind of brought back to that moment.
Yeah.
And that's what my intention was. That's the vision I had for it when I pieced everything together. And once it started to come together more and more and more. And so thinking about that process and wanting to bring our final guest, the sixth guest to the show, I reached out to Tina Gordon and try to get her to come down and here and meet somewhere. So in that process of like trying to figure that out, I was telling her about my experience with the episode and how I was just like really feeling such intense FOMO. This is towards the end of the call when we were just after we talked about everything else too. I was just like, I was feeling intense FOMO because like here I am in like an arm's length of some of the best cannabis I've ever been close to. And I can't, and I have to like edit it and watch it over and over again and like relive it, like in events in detail. And so she's like, "What if I like give you something to sample?" You know what I mean? And I was like, "Oh, I think we can work out this." Trying to hold it in tight, trying to be like, "Oh, I think we can do that. I think we can pencil you in." Inside, I'm just like
hangs up the phone.
So I'm like, I get the phone. I'm like, Neysa, I think we found a sponsor. I'm trying to play it cool because I'm trying to be a graceful. So she sent us some cannabis. Amazing. Everything is amazing.
All sun grown. Just like beautiful.
Amazing flower.
Natural.
Amazing.
Like once you go, honestly, once you're aware of, this is the thing with cannabis. And this is where what I love. Moonmade Farms creates that level of consciousness and attention around cannabis that I think I've had with food.
Yeah.
Because it was like, once we were like, oh, where is it from? Oh, the farm's over there. Oh, what are you doing over there? Oh, that's a really cool technique. Now I'm having a different experience with the product. And that's also how I experience food. So values-wise, it was aligned and we had our first sponsor. And it was so cool because we kind of had our toe in the cannabis industry, something, and with someone who is so aligned and championing the things that we want to see just as a brand and as like entrepreneurs. So that was like a really magical thing because our channel has just got started and we didn't think that we would have a sponsor even in a gifting capacity.
We didn't kind of consider that. Yeah. We were kind of thinking it was like, we're looking for guests. You know what I mean? It's like
you're just trying to make the thing.
Like Gucci Mane says, like I can't put you on if you're not already out. Like if I can hurt you,
right,
then you're probably not noticeable enough for me to put you on because you already be on. You just want one of those things, you know. If you're not out here, you can't really be.
How can I recommend you? How can I?
Right, you have no mixtape yet. I'm gonna play for the.
There's also the very real thing of, as creators, as business owners, you sometimes get into a cycle of just doing what clients want you to do. Yeah. And so how has Cook Til Done allowed you to like expand the portfolio that you want to see?
That's a great question. Yeah. I cut you off.
That was the question.
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. I'm so excited to ask the question. Yes, it was really scratching the director's itch. That process and like having here, because like you said, more client work too. It's not like a put on, but it's like it's toward a purpose. And so I'm catering the style of work that I like to do and pairing it with what the client wants. And we're working it together to like match the styles and make it something that makes sense that we agree on. With this, where it's just like our stuff, it's the next level of our test shoots, our test product shoots we did in the beginning when we were doing more more product photography, just like test shoots. And this is a good, because we were like, we're going to push this, because our idea for this, we want to push this to a network. We were like, I need to have something we can sell, we can like push this and kind of have this conversation, but it turned into something else because it, quote unquote, got good to us. And we really to have this expression we hadn't had before. So go back to the question, how does it help me kind of get out of the client work? It scratched that itch of making film. So I feel like I was like, when someone talks about making a story or a song or an album or a piece of art or anything like that, this is more of a documentary. When they had that idea, like, oh, this is what I have to focus on too. That was what helped me kind of pull through. Is this something I can really get behind, I really care about, and I would work longer hours on the editing and like think about it more and like really hone my craft. that's what I love about this too. I feel like this is one of those things that like really you get to level up.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the grind, and it's one of these things. It's like a short sprint, like it's 6 episodes. I think we were shooting it up. We were edited over like 2 months. You know what I mean? Give myself 2 weeks to edit each episode. Still, it was with the revisions and everything too. We give ourselves that deadline. Hitting the deadlines too, which is, you know, always amazing to hit a deadline to check things off that list. And it really too on the business side, it really streamlined our systems and how we do edits and revisions, because it was happening at a certain point where we could not wait for the other person. Like I couldn't wait for you to come finish, and we had to do things asynchronously. Is that what that is? Or
well, we were doing things in lockstep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually so glad you brought that up, because I was going to ask you like how this show and directing this show impacted the way our process, like as a team. Because I think we've always been in the process of like refining our systems so that we can hire, so that when that day comes where we're like, we've got that full-time editor, we've got that, even if it's a part-time editor and we're just, all of our YouTube goes there while we do client work or whatever the case is, it's like, we've always been basically preparing to bring that person on. So I was curious of how this project helped us streamline the communication, the way that we work, and like what the differences were between what we were doing before versus how we operate now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I want to answer a question. I want to go back to the question before this too. This project too really helped me learn to trust my instincts and play more with the camera, because it's something that is really, I think it happens to like anybody once you're on a project for a while. You can get into your own kind of dogmatic sense of shooting of
you put yourself in a box.
You're like, I shoot this way, this is my style. That's not side of strength, especially when it's client work. It's like, these are the parameters, and we with the client for a long time. It's like, well, these are the parameters that I can even shoot at. And so you start to put those kind of blinders on. But so working on projects for the purpose of just doing the project for experimenting is vital to that creativity. I'm just saying it for me, it is vital to maintaining a healthy, creative ecosystem. You know what I mean? Because I was editing sometimes and I was like, yeah. I was just like, yeah, the shot's here. It's cool. Let's get it across. What I wanted to get across in the shot was coming across, and I was like, oh, I don't have to so much on the camera. I can have to pull on the yoke so much. I can kind of let the currents take me. I can kind of let the storm kind of ride the currents a little more versus trying to have so much control. And that's great. That's great, because the less you have to control, the better, right? Like.
And it's also like, how much can you control? Like, it made us, what I'm hearing you say is that it made us more flexible, more open, because we were kind of putting ourselves in a box. When you do so much client work, it's like you kind of forget that your style is beyond the scope of what clients are asking for. And if you ever want to get paid to do more things, then it's like,
exactly,
you have to go outside that box. So sometimes these projects like end up being like a really big innovation tool for the company. Yeah.
Yeah. But to your question, yes. How it worked for kind of the business side of it, how it worked to streamline, or for hiring. So for hiring, I think with the editing, it forced us both to take the editing, to give a lot more respect, to treat editing Tabari as if they're like an individual. And I found myself advocating for the editor. And we talked about when we hire editors, I'm the person kind of in charge of them, like leading that team. And this is the way I can do early on, is like us kind of getting forcing us to respect the editor's time and not even to like be, like you said, in lockstep. And so I was really advocating for the editors. It's like kind of you talk about doing in your past careers about helping this team. The team is right here. I want to project manage everybody here. It's gonna be good. Don't worry about them. I'm kind of standing in front of everybody to make sure they're good. They get what they need. I'm the advocate for them. And so, and similarly with being a director for this project, I had to advocate for the vision, like for the project itself. And that's kind of like not the bump heads, but we have to kind of make those, like, what about this style? Maybe having a little more here or edit in here. Having those things that get really being able to learn when to not die on hills, but learn when hills to die on, what things to like back. It's like kind of giving more flexibility, like you said, like we were talking about, having more flexibility. And so
kind of knowing, choosing your battles in a way.
Yeah. And so I think it was really nice to think about the editor as something kind of like different, because when we went to using it's not like I forget what it is, but basically when we put our tasks onto this website and we can send each other tasks and assign each other's tasks, how we do that, and
our project management,
I forgot what was called, as we're doing that process. And because I was like, I just need this at this point, because I needed some other ways to like keep track of everything, and like I was just putting everything in my notebooks. It was like helping, but like every now and then one piece would slip through the cracks. Like on one episode I forgot to put the what's it called, the name came up when the screen was like, oh, it was Neysa and this other person that came up, and I was like, it's because I didn't have it was, everything was like all up here.
Yeah. And
so it was like forcing me to get on track of it, and I had so much respect for this project, and then to respect the editor as it was somebody else. I was like, there's a lot of stuff we'll do for ourselves and to ourselves we won't do for somebody else.
But what I will say is this increased our capacity. Yeah. Because, I don't think we've ever had this much client work on our plate. Maybe there's one other stage in our business where we had more client work than this. And literally, and probably I'm saying most of our client stuff right now is on set versus before it was like in studio. And literally having a project management system and a system on how we assign the projects increased what we could do, because it's not the filming, and that stuff is like not that much time. It's everything before and after. So having like a communication tool, at least from my perspective, what I've observed is like, oh, we can make a lot more stuff, because to your point, it's not all up here. We do that for clients, but we weren't doing it for ourselves. Yeah. And so I'm like, oh my God, imagine if we did do it for clients, like we could probably triple our output without tripling our effort.
Like our workload.
That's
how we even keep up with what it is, because it was, especially with like a client that each month needing the same things, like the same video, like same assets each month. It helped us to get ahead too, because the limitation is really the planning. So if we want to get 30 days, 60 days ahead, we can do that. And then really the limit kind of comes up to is what the client's comfortable with. Right. You know what I mean? How much they can like hit a day or two of just locking on this stuff to get the content out the way to move. But for us, we could just do that. We get plan days to take the shoots and like give ourselves time to edit. And we're kind of doing it. Not running gun. We're kind of doing it like as
we were running and gunning.
It was as the times were coming up, it was getting done. Yeah. You know what I mean? Very much the step. So like as these things were like being, and I think that's part of it, is meeting deadlines. And for me, that is very similar to how a film is made. Yeah. To me, like if I want to make a short film and like this, or I do something even longer, like I can imagine either shoots that we did, you know what I mean, with the same actors at certain locations. That's a lot of locations for a film too, but still, it's like keeping track of all those things and those deadlines, to me, like how we, like the deadlines and scheduling was like the easiest part. You know what I mean? Because we're really used to that. But keeping track of all the videos kind of coming in and keeping the best shots and maintaining a story, that was a challenging part, but that's why the systems were important.
Why we created them, yeah.
So we can kind of, like the workflow stuff, and that's like, over the last year, I've been putting a lot more effort into the workflow and working on editing too, with the client first, and then with this project too, just made it really, really flow a lot easier, so I can be open to just kind of make changes on the fly, or just be inspired and not be, first of all, give yourself the time. Just damn it, because it takes time. Like it's like, just because you can do something in 24 hours, I mean, you should. You know what I mean? And then there's always I put it down, I come away, and I'm just like, oh, I think if I had the shot like this, it'd be better. And that's fine too, because
it's not going to get lost.
Yeah, it's like instinct is not knowing. It's the feeling without the knowing, you know. And I think that's what I have to trust. You know what I mean? The systems are all there for it. Cool. You know what I mean too. But it's the book I was reading, Making Movies by Sidney Lumet. He talks about how rigid he is in the preparation and the rehearsal. So in the days, I actually have this, and I agree with the school of the more we prepare, the more spontaneous we can be. You know what I mean? If we have things taken care of, then maybe we can stop and let you kind of like ad lib for a little bit longer, or we can let the shot go a little bit longer on those things. We can kind of be a little more liberal when we need to, which is when the thing is happening, when the art's happening. And that's when we need to be the most gentle, because the ideas are very gentle. They're like, they need to be safe and kind of come in the room. And so we have to create the environment for them and protect them, advocate for the ideas.
So now that all 6 episodes are basically out, by the time people are watching this video, all 6 episodes are out. What's next for Cook Til Done?
I would love to do a season 2 of Cook Til Done. And I would love to do it bigger and better. I think even 6 episodes again. You know what I mean? Maybe 10. Somewhere in there. Like a nice spot. Something that's not going to be...
Too much.
Not as too much in the sense like I can't do it, but I want it to be like impactful and make sense and be like succinct. I like... It's kind of like Jetty says, like the way he talks is not the way that he like raps. Like the way that he raps is kind of inverse into like how the music that he likes. Like I like things that are very succinct. You don't have to like say a lot to get the point across. But when I talk, and sometimes I talk with like a lot of words more often than not. But what I like to do ideally would be kind of like with poetry is to say a lot with just a little bit. And if I can get my point across in 6 episodes versus like 10, cool. If it takes 10, cool. You know what I mean? If it's like all 10 are just like bangers, then that's kind of where I'm at with it. But again, very open. Also could be just perfection kind of coming up in there and doing its own thing too. And so I would love season 2 to be like to travel some places, more. I would like to do a lot more stuff outside. And I would like to I would do more stuff like we would do with Heidi. The more activities.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why I think the Cook Til Done episode is so amazing as well, because we like did a thing together. You know what I mean? I think that if I was anything to improve the best, like the other episodes, would be to have like you and the guests doing something together. I think this might have been, I won't say it's a little bit missing, but would have made it to that extra like, this is an A+. You know what I mean? Kind of take it over the next, like, take over to the next level. So some kind of plan, even if it's working on the food together or doing some kind of activity or something that can share your connection, kind of moving y'all around. And also I think at the interview, being at the end too, like we did, having the activity first and the interview at the end, y'all are warmed up and connected, and your conversation just flows a lot more. And sometimes I think that I can tell because I'm shooting it and I'm like there and I'm watching it over and over and over again. And when I'm making stuff, I want to make sure I'm like, okay, this is what I'm seeing too, but what would the average person looking at it who doesn't know everything kind of look at it too? And that's the dual kind of perspective you have to hold as a director, is what I'm seeing, what I'm trying to get across, and also what is someone who doesn't have those information. I'm here with it. Like, you don't see that when the blue means, obviously it's the ocean, not sadness. Obviously it's kind of that, like that thing. So I would love to explore more of that, have more conversations about even more dishes, go to places like different, more to the cannabis farms. I would love to do more spirits. I would love to do like even more like chocolates or kind of like wine, like kind of the more specific stuff. Yeah, I would love to do like, hey, I love the Jenny spotlight. Hey, I would love to shout out Jenny's ice cream.
I've been on Jenny's neck for years. Like, did I tell you they commented on a TikTok video on mine?
Mm-mm.
They did. Mm. And I'm just like, what is it going to take? Y'all, nobody loves Jenny's more than I do. Mm. Nobody's responsible for more Jenny's sales outside the Jenny's team than I am.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm wondering what the issue is at this point.
Yeah. So I was also like that. I would like to see that going, like an iterative series, and that can be that format. You know, with the activity together, intro. I would actually like our own intro music. I like the intro music. But
you want to have an original produce.
I'm going to talk. Should I tell a story about the intro music? I'm going to tell a story. So the intro music itself was, I was doing an editing reel, and I made an editing reel that was so amazing. And Neysa was like, "That's the music we're using. This is the intro to the video. This is what it is." I was like, "But I already used it over here." And she was like, "Nah, use it over here. Use it over here, bro. Nah, big dog." I was like, "This is what happens when you." you marry someone who is like just as like dedicated and focused and like passionate as you. Is just sometimes y'all the passions be like, well, you stronger.
Do you see me as a big dog?
Yeah.
Like, really?
Yeah, I think you are intimidating.
You think I'm intimidating?
Yeah, I think you're not. I think you're not to be trifled with, not to be taken lightly.
Do you think I appear that way though?
I think it depends. I think you can.
That's interesting. Because I feel like that's not how I appear, and then people find out.
That's my first impression of you a bit too, because I'm like, it was like, not that you like seriously like I'm playing games. Like you didn't have like an attitude. You know what I mean?
Having an attitude is not being a big dog, though.
I know. So you didn't have an attitude.
Yeah.
I think that had you kept that same energy after you got to know me and was like laughing at my jokes, then you'd have been like, yeah, you're being.
You have attitude.
You got attitude because you're like still, like you still like you're gonna be, and like sure everybody has their.
Damn, smile, nigga, something.
Like, people have their like. They're guards up for reasons, I know, but I'm like, if I met you on a date and the date is like, how do we know the date's going well?
Right.
Without like saying, hey, is it going well? No.
You know what's so funny about that? There's like a whole rabbit hole of women who say that when they're on dates, how they treat their dates compared to how they treat people they're not interested in at all. And it's like the date, they like basically are so cold to them and have no emotion for them at all, and they pretend like they don't exist. And then the people who they like aren't interested in at all, they're just like, oh my god, hey, like because they are actually comfortable. And I find that to be so interesting. I think it's like, I think there's some truth there about when your guard's down and like your true self comes out, but it's like, how do you take that and put it where it belongs? Yeah. Rather than shutting down. I think it goes to show even for clients and project work too, it's like you want to, of course there's a difference between oversharing, but you want them to have that experience that your friends see because your friends love you and they love you because of this thing, but when they're the only ones that gets to experience that, what are you missing out on? So it is interesting, like what you just said. Like, how do I know we're having fun? Like,
yeah, I think it's like laughter is one of the just. It's just kind of like you can't really go wrong. I think if I had to hone in on one thing, if I was to go back to tell young Tabari or anybody that's coming up, like think about like listen to are they laughing or not? Like listen, kind of tune in because I'm like that can be like that is one way sure to like see how a person is feeling. Kind of immediately, you know what I mean? Because like, if a person doesn't laugh a lot, like how do they? Okay, cool. A person laugh a lot. What does that mean? Where's that laughter come out?
It's also like how do they act to you in comparison to like kind of their baseline? So if they're like a jovial person, that's not a good metric. But if they like don't, if they're not very open, but then they're open with you, so it's more so like what's the difference between how they treat you and how their baseline? Not even how they treat other people. In general, just their baseline of like, this is how I treat people I don't know. This is how I treat people I know. This is how I treat people I'm close with.
Like what you're close with, you get.
And where are you on that kind of spectrum?
And then too, some people do have a lot of like similarities. They're like, well, most people I hug. I'm just a hugger. You know what I mean? Some people have those. I'm open with everybody too. I don't have my guards up as much, and I'll tell jokes and I'll like be familiar with you. Some people have that, and I actually do admire that. Something when I was younger, I did envy that a lot. Like you just kind of just know everybody.
But to be honest, I don't think that they're creating intimacy though. I think they're familiarity is the word. It's the feeling. It's what influencers do. We're gonna feel like we're friends. But truthfully, we're not friends. And you find that out when you look at what happened to Doja Cat. It's like, you feel like you know her, you've been following her probably for years, and then it's like, oh, you found out quickly, like, that's not your friend. Yeah. And so having that discernment to understand, like, how do I know that we are a match, whether it's friendship or professional or romance or whatever. It is interesting.
I think, to the point, much like clients and dating, the great parallel, I think.
The great parallel of business.
I think that that's why it's so important to know like your parameters and that or your what's important to you, like your values, because it's like the person, like stuff like kind of physical stuff or this brand, maybe the brand isn't as like, let me re-say that. Basically, I'm saying knowing what you want out of a person, like the need, the desire for travel, the ability to grow a person who treats people like fairly. You know what I mean? Like person who isn't a sexist, bigoted, racist fucking asshole. Like, yeah. So if you have those things that like kind of those core values there, then you can allow a lot more space for similar to what I was saying earlier about having like the all preparation to create the spontaneity, knowing like what you need from a person and what you're absolutely not gonna settle for less. Everybody else is not gonna even they're gonna bounce off of your standards, so to speak. So it's okay to be on a date and be open and be like level, you know what I mean, and kind of like have your nervous system be regulated, because like if something does pique your interest, or if you're having a conversation with the client and you're like, you don't have a huge presence online, but actually you're actually the client who actually, because your values are really aligned. And from the outside and looking in, it might not be what I thought it was, but actually there's a lot here, and there's we can grow together. I think that's something really to look at when we're, even with clients that are established, you know what I mean, they're ready to pay you six figures for, an hour of your time. What is it like to grow still with those people? And like, are they going to hold you back later? Like, what was it like to grow? You learn the experience, like how this Cook Til Done put us in touch with like new people and getting a sponsor and learning new things and like processing new things, and you think about how we're going to put it on, like, do we film it in enough definition to put it on certain like streaming services, like having those things and being open, like having, like, we know we want to set out, we want to tell the story. These are our guidelines, and we're kind of be loose with how we get there. That's a really beautiful place to be in, and allow creativity to come and be in the room. Again, to reiterate, allowing the creative to be in there and to flow, and to that stuff that creating the space for things to happen, much like a date, where if you create the environment for like joy and laughter communication to happen, then those things will most likely happen. And the ones that do happen well, it's going to just be a stronger foundation in the relationship, because it was so intentional in the beginning, and there was like communication and no weird stuff at the beginning. And it's like, that's so great. Think about all the people you have in your life that was like that since day one. You know what I mean?
Few.
Yeah, not that you don't like people who had like a tough time with everything, because come over struggle is important. You know what I mean too? But I think having overcome struggle to like tip it out bond, I think it's like overrated. I think we can just like have a good time together and not be struggle. It's not the movies. I don't know, watch, like, I can watch a movie sometimes life should just be
stable.
Just like I went to work and I came home. I think, or I did a thing. You know what I mean? I think that now more than ever.
Now more than ever.
Can we have some fucking precedents?
Right. So how has the series grown, or has it evolved the vision of the company?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, because here we are, but this is going to live on our YouTube channel, and this is us stepping into the direction of a media company more so than a production company, or I guess really having our own media wing of it, because it was production for other people, but now having our own like in-house media. You know what I mean? Our own in-house yay media or whatever. Like, since there's over here where it's whatever we want to make, and we're getting clients where we can get sponsorships and money to just do that stuff. That to me is really exciting.
That is really exciting. That's not
necessarily what I thought about, because I thought that we would do film like on our own separately at Ginger and Carrot. Because you have like, we have stuff that we want to work on together. You have stuff that you want to work on. I have stuff I want to work on separately, and that's going to happen forever. So I thought that's how we would kind of come about to it, and that's what was really exciting, to have that director itch scratch with this project, because it was like, it'd be right here in your own space, and it's like, that's really like right here, like kind of like, that's not a bad thing to realize that you were closer already, or you're already there. You know, it's like, it can be a facade. It can feel kind of like, damn, I should have paid more attention. But like you did, like you are here and you didn't miss it.
Right.
That's the thing that's to regret, is the missing of the thing, like not ever noticing where you were. And shout out to my therapist, because I was like, how do I feel right now? Does this all? I went in, and like somebody said something before, someone laughed at me. I was like, nah. For me, that was really, I needed to. How do I feeling right in this moment? And over that couple months, 90-day process, to now where I can like, oh, this is what this is. This is enjoyment. This is fulfillment. I'm feeling good about this. This is kind of what I wanted from this. This is kind of this is the ideas. This is the collaborating on something. This is the setting the deadlines. This is kind of getting it out. This is the doing of it and getting the work out to people and to shepherd these ideas to the community, to the culture, to people to look at and discuss, and to also with some like bomb ass images and looking cool and exciting and the music and everything. So,
would you ever, if we had the opportunity, or if we ever had the opportunity, would you ever exclusively want to work on the YouTube channel? And I'm not asking, should we? I'm just saying, would you do that? Or would you want to do that if we were like, you know what, we're not going to focus on client work for the next stage of the business. We're only going to focus on building out this channel and putting all our resources towards that. Would you ever do something like that?
I think so. I think that I wonder, immediately what comes up is, I wonder what will replace the pitches. So I wonder how is the connection more like network stuff, where we're like meeting people in person, and which is what we're focused on now, but would that completely kind of just dead the need to outreach for clients?
We would probably outreach for brands.
Like for brands and
outreach for guests.
Yeah.
But that feels less, I don't know why, and I have to examine this, but that feels way easier on my nervous system than reaching out to other businesses and saying, in so many words, pay me to help you grow your business. Versus, I've already built a thing and you should just pay me because it's awesome. So just come over here. I think that's a very different energy. And maybe influencers can tell me otherwise, but I feel like the disconnect with people who have media companies or influencers or people who are building a platform is that they thought that they were just going to get paid to exist. And they didn't know, oh, I have to do business development. I have to do lead generation. And they get stuck there. Versus with us, we knew from jump we had to do business development. And so now transitioning that to like a different format, or even if we were like, let's just get our YouTube ad revenue all the way up, like even that's a path to, and just selling our own stuff. It's like, there's so many options there, just setting up a funnel, like a really great funnel or something like that. There's a lot of options there. The thing with all of those things of like, is the time.
Yeah, because you're starting a thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the time investment of like, a year of saying, I'm just going to build this platform.
That's what entrepreneurship has taught me, is like if I wanted to be a musician and go on tour in the next 5 years, I could probably do that because of entrepreneurship. And by that I mean I could think about where I would do my 5-year plan. I could project myself in the future, like, well, what I want to do if I wanted to start. I'm like, okay, what instrument would I play? What I want to do? Am I singing and this, da, da, da. Who do I need to meet? Okay, what place am I need to be in? Where do I need to move? What should I like dress differently? Should I like get cards? Like start my Instagram now. So I start doing like, how do I market myself? Like those questions, just the whole brand, like who are I want to be meeting, how do I want to be perceived? Like I would start that process. Like do that. I would do our brand research process. I would have the brand call basically with myself and go through that questionnaire, go through that process of discovering what I wanted to do for that and discovering my identity with that and just like go for that. And nothing else, not a school, not one coach, like no program is that. That's what entrepreneurship is, this ultimate zero to hero.
It's the only zero to hero.
Really the how do you make something out of nothing? Not in the sense of like I'm self-made, but how do you take something that doesn't exist and make it so? And there's all these parallels with writing and other artists and other things too, but also with like inventions and ideas and all these things, because people don't just invent like tools, like they invent ideas, and we have conversations. And like the concept of AI was an idea first, like because we had to think in a certain direction to get there with like computers. And so these ideas like grow and change with us. They're not constants, you know. And it's something that I really believe in, and something that I love to explore always. And there's other stuff I want to do too with like masculinity projects as well, and talk about certain things. Actually, I was bringing to you on the spot actually, because this is something I really want to talk about.
Whose interview is this?
I want to do. I'm taking over, hijack the interview. It's mine right now. Okay, so I want to do something with masculinities through the lens of food. So
you're just gonna act like that wasn't my idea? You just gonna act like I didn't tell you to do that?
Cut the camera. All right, cool.
And
so that's been
like, I don't want to do that.
our episode of Cook Til Done.
You just gonna act
That's
like,
been our episode of Cook Til
wow,
Done. That's been real.
You see this?
So
Listen,
we'll see y'all next time. Thank you for being here this season.
This is what it's like to work in a male-dominated industry.
Because
you see how that escalated?
That we,
you see how you got to circle back,
you know what I mean,
and get back into the loop.
And
you
once
see
we
how
support
you
each other
have,
correctly,
you see?
we can really go really far. You know what I mean? I think it's important to overlook our shortcomings as individuals, especially as entrepreneurs.
Oh
it's really important to support each other in the culture. I can't
believe what I'm hearing right now.
In that community, and to know that
you
like,
came to me like you had an original idea.
And you know that again, the ideas that have to be like kind of create the space for the ideas to come in the room.
You thought I was gonna forget.
There's actually is like no idea is actually ours. That's the thing. That's why it's like it's actually it's really hard to let go of that ego with our ideas, because we really think they come from us, and they don't come from us. They come from much more of a source, and so it's important for us.
Oh my God, he said ideas come from source.
Us to appreciate that fact.
You hear Joe Dispenza?
Really just be here for the ideas to show them their way into, you know what I mean? Much as in the way that our parents should just let us shine on our own, you know what I mean? To like, you know, they can project us so they can protect us, you know what I mean?
That's crazy.
It's important to like know the difference. And so I just am forever grateful
listen to Blue Ivy.
from our wife and our incredible relationship, and her forever trusting me. And you know what I mean? I just love to hear her laugh and see her really come alive. And it's been really beautiful to see you come alive as a host and into your own. I know it's really tough for you in the beginning.
I can't even take these compliments right now because you just gonna play in my face. Because you really worried
about being a host, and I was like, you can do it. And
really
we talked about it.
My face.
And I think you just really to see the woman that you've grown into and become is just. You guys
be careful who you marry.
Humbled and
be careful who you marry.
Just forever grateful.
They might just take your ideas. You gotta be careful.
It's we. These are our ideas together.
Cause what? Cause we got one consciousness. Wow.
No, but when there's psychicness, there's psychics in the house. Sometimes.
Not when there's psychics in the house. Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
He had a spirituality breakthrough right before your eyes, people.
So you know.
You got me out of character. You got me acting a fool. I broke code.
I think that
I slipped. I demasked.
That's all I'm saying.
I stopped code switching. You got me. You see now we're vulnerable now. Now they've seen too much. They've seen too much now.
I just understand that. I think that's great.
Go ahead, tell me your idea. Tell me your idea. Tell them your idea.
I think that we should support women.
So that brings me to my last question.
Scary, I know.
What is it like to work with your wife?
Oh yeah.
In business.
It's always a dream. It's just never. Stop. Stop. To bring it back to why it's so great to work with you specifically, Neysa. Whether you're my wife or not, why it's so great to work with you is that you are.
I'm going to link to this the next time I apply to a job on LinkedIn. A little referral recommendation.
On a very basic level, you're just fun to work with. Like, just actually being around you, working on something like that is actually fun. Like, one of the things that attracted me to you in the beginning of the relationship was going to the grocery store. And it was, like, fun. Grocery was a chore before. It was just, you got to get groceries, you got to feed yourself. So, and as I learned more about cooking, you get what I mean, and go into, part of it was to impress you, sure. But also, I was curious about these things too, and I explore everything with my curiosity. And that's how I invest in things too. So that's how I get into it, like these like rabbit holes and like experiment and whatnot. And that's how I got into a lot of stuff. That's how I got into filmmaking. That's how I got into photography. That's how I got into sourdough. That's how I got into models. That's how I get into a lot of stuff. That's how I got into Magic the Gathering.
Sourdough is a thing to get into. You can't just casually do sourdough. It's a lifestyle commitment.
Yeah, and it's so being at work with you in a space that is like safe to work with, is creative, and you have this unique ability to, like, when you're like tuned in to really, like the way you advocate for an idea. I take a lot of that on too. Like, you really advocate for an idea, like, because you're a value driven person, because you're very idealistic, and that's can be misinterpreted as like airheaded or like flighty, bushy eyed. What is it, tail? It's just because you're just like, or naive.
Bright eyed, bushy tail.
Whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? Because it's like, oh, you think that the world should be a certain way. It's like,
it can be.
The fuck are we doing?
Right.
You think the world should be a certain way. It's just, you just don't take any part of it. It's like, I think the world should be this way, but like, I want that to benefit me. You're like, the world should be this way, so everybody should work and shut up and be quiet.
It's not clocking
you. Know what I mean?
I'm standing on business.
It's not clocking to you.
It's not clocking to you that I'm standing on business, is it?
It's not clocking to you.
I'm a human being.
I'm a human being.
Like, I'm a husband. Like, I'm a... So, it's like... So, we can do that with you, and for that to like grow along with our love in the process, and for our work relationship together. And it's one of those things where I think that even independently, it's been amazing to watch us grow, you know what I mean? And to kind of like keep pace with each other in our own ways, because it's not linear at all. There's no like, I'm going over here, I'm going to go parallel with you. We have to kind of have that squiggly line of success that we would talk about, like, together. And we have to do that in lockstep. We have to do that, like, well, not in lockstep, we have to do that in communication the whole time. And it does create conflict. And we've had conflict, like, mostly because creative space, also our hearts into it, because we're artists, we're sensitive about our shit. And then we're in a relationship, too. So there's so many different layers where one thing might have a little meaning, but it might cause the effect to have a meaning. Like, me saying, oh, hand me that to my coworker might not feel the same way as my wife might feel about saying, hey, pass me that. So kind of keeping those things in mind, and how we talk to each other and how we interact with each other, has been challenging at times, but always rewarding. Always rewarding for those days when we're going to film, and it's just like, even when we have to like travel along to do things in long days and haul our equipment in that one suitcase and all this stuff too, at the end of the day, I had these moments where I'm like, I'm in a place where I chose to be, with the person I chose to be with, doing what I chose to do. Worth it. Check, done. So that's what it's like working with my wife.
working with you. I do agree that like of course we face conflict, right? Because what we do is creative work is inherently emotional. I do have really, really high standards, not only for myself, but for the people around me. And I've learned to uphold those standards because they do reap really, really rich rewards. And I have a vision, and I, being the host and executive producer of Cook Til Done and driving this channel and driving the company in this new direction has brought so many fruits, yielded so many fruits from that tree of what we could potentially be, what we've already created, what we've already done. It's created new channels of communication for us. It's given us more independence in the company as well with our systems. It's increased our capacity because I think, starting out, there was no way we would have been like, how are we going to do that? Like, we would have never been able to, it would have seemed impossible. And knowing what we know now, I feel like, I've got some skin in the game. I feel like I've got some calluses. Like, I can touch some hot grease with my hands.
Yeah, like
I can
it's not
hot enough. It's not hot enough.
This broil ain't quite hot enough
and
yet.
You're literally touching fire. I'm like, what do you mean? I used to look at companies that were bigger than us or more established, and I would say they're inherently better because they're more established and they're bigger. But the truth is that you'll never be everything to everybody, and they've definitely picked a lane. And creating the show, watching that show, let me realize we're in a different lane. We're not competing with them, and we're doing something that they're not doing, which is a differentiator in the market. And that means that they're not better than us, we're not better than them, but it means that we can have the kind of success that they've had because we're not trying to be like them. And in the conversations that we're having, pulling the references that we're pulling, asking the questions that we're asking, and even the way we format things, we're doing something that is really resonating with audiences. So I was like, we might just be with our audience now at the size that it is now, but when it grows, it's going to be like our supporters are going to be diehard supporters. They're going to be day one, A1 people, and they're going to have so much care and grace and intention for one another. And that's the community that I want to build, is like a community of really thoughtful, kind, smart, intelligent people that are diverse. Like, when we went to see Beyonce, you look into the audience and you're like, this is what this country literally is and has the potential to be even more of. And this should be the norm. Like, just the level of safety. And which is why people bring their kids. Like, you can't bring your kids to a Kendrick concert. You know what I mean? There's so much energy there. So it's like, just cultivating that like intentionality and a culture of intentionality. And what we're doing is one thing that I'm looking forward to so much, finding my voice as a host and as a producer. And as we hire, like, with Issa Rae's work, with Ava DuVernay's work, like, Felicia Pride, it's like they have a style. You see something, you're like, Issa Rae's a part of that. Ava's a part of that. Felicia's a part of that. And it's like, it's not to say they picked up the camera and do the same thing every time, but the way that they collaborate, the way that they hire, the perspective and the people that they bring on is so distinct that it's recognizable. And that's what I see for ourselves, where it's like, what we're doing, regardless of how big the team gets, and I hope our team does get big. I want this to be, I want to take this show on the road. Like, I want this thing to be big. And I want people to know that was Ginger and Carrot. Recently, someone came to me and they were like, I can't remember your name, but like, I know you're Ginger and Carrot. And I was like, and that's all I want.
I've done it.
That's literally all I want. Because, maybe this company is my alter ego or something, but I'm like, I'd rather know what I've created and I rather know that I've had an impact than you even remembering my name, because that's what I wake up every day with the intention to do, is to create an impact. And so I did my job. So I think that's the thing that I'm the most proud of with what we've created.
Yeah. I think so too. I really resonate with that. It is really amazing to have an idea, set intention, follow through, enjoy the project. That's like how it looked. It's really like that cycle. That's the production cycle.
Yeah.
As a filmmaker, as production agency, finding different projects to work on. Like where there's so much project based. Sometimes they're longer projects. I like to look on longer projects, but these is giving me the. I would put in that stripe so we can one day do a bigger like film project or guide a bigger team with more resources. Because I think the next level is just more resources.
It's just more resources. More locations. Mm-hmm. Yeah. More people to interview. Mm-hmm. More production team.
Like bigger crew.
Bigger crew.
It's like.
And doing cooler things. Like I would love to do, I want so badly to interview someone who does sushi.
Yeah.
Oh, let's do that. Let's do like manifestations.
End it on, end it on what we want to do with the Cook Til Done.
So you tell me your top 5, you don't have to name a specific person, but like top 5 of what you would love an episode to be about. And I'll give you my top 5. Through the lens of food.
Okay.
Of course, Cook Til Done, and then I'll give you my top 5.
Quick, the first thing gonna be easy. Queerness, gaming, cannabis again. Something masculinity. Something like how we cook for each other, men. Something.
Men in the kitchen, maybe something like that.
What does a man cook? Because you know what I mean. It's like
and it's so I can't wait for that one because...
And that's changed several times in this country. A lot. Like, does like real men don't cook or it's like...
But then restaurants are male dominated, so it's like, I'm confused. Are we cooking or not? Like, you know...
It's like, then the thing a lot of times when things get made that are ironic, the irony gets lost over time. People know the intention of the original artist.
Right.
And it's like, certain things that are supposed to be like ironic could be like, oh yeah, so we should... So.
I would love to do an episode on that.
Yeah, and then maybe the 5th thing is probably... Fuck, I don't know.
Is that the 5th thing? Or is that the...
That's 4.
4? You get 4?
Yeah. And I think something else... Queerness again.
2 queer videos.
2 queers, please.
To spread the gay agenda. We're spreading the gay agenda.
Okay, what about you?
For me, I want to interview a sushi chef. Mm-hmm. Someone who is for sure tied into the culture from an ethnic perspective. That's all I'll say.
Anyway.
Oh, yeah. Bakery would be amazing. Like an older, like I've been doing this for as long as I've been alive type person. Maybe even that pastry architect that would... Ooh, let's hit him up. So that'll be my number 2 is something pastry related. Number 3, I want to go to a Black-owned restaurant that is not soul food. Number 4, I think it would be amazing to do something Jamaican. Something Jamaican, and I mean Jamaica.
Like no room to sit down.
Like no fusion. I don't want to hear from somebody who's like, oh, I'm Jamaican, but we've got barbecue chicken, we've got mac and cheese. No, I want someone who is
I think the place that's not
super traditional.
I think the place that does traditional Caribbean food.
Yeah.
And the person is like, and they make like
kind of older
vibes. They're making escovitch and got sorrel in the fucking like fridge.
Yeah.
And they don't do like any kind of like maybe there's mac and cheese.
No mac and cheese. No mac and cheese. Because mac and cheese is like you've already compromised.
Yeah.
You've already compromised. Like, and I love mac and cheese, but it's like there's so much fusion and like for me and I feel this way about not just Jamaican food, but I feel this way about like Japanese food, Korean food. I really only want the cuisine, and maybe this is a hot take, I only want the cuisine being expanded by the people in the community because I don't trust the intentions of an inspired white guy coming in and being like, why can't we do sushi this way? It's not yours to tamper with. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can talk shit about our siblings, but you cannot talk shit about my sibling.
Literally,
right? And it's that way. It's like, if Japanese food is going to be pushed forward, I'd rather it come from a second and third and fourth generation Japanese person. I'd rather it come from someone who understands the rules, knows why they're breaking it, than someone who took a month-long trip, came back inspired, and now is feeding us something that might be delicious, but we've kind of lost the tie. And, you know, and I'm a traditionalist in that way. And so I feel that way about Jamaican food, where I'm like, listen, I love soul food. I love these African influences. I love the evolution when it's coming from a place of, when it's being driven by the people who are responsible for stewarding the cuisine. But what I hate is a city that's evolved around tourism. What I hate is like an environment that has changed because of gentrification. That is not evolution to me. That is compromise. And as Eartha Kitt said, why on earth would I compromise? You know what I mean? So anyway, we, got a little passionate there. So what is that, my number 4?
Damn, bro.
Or was that number 3? Okay, I'll give you one more. I already said sushi, right?
Give us 2 more.
2 more? Okay, because I feel like that was 3.
Hit him with the 1-2 punch.
Definitely, I know we said pastry, but I feel like ice cream is different. I definitely want to do.
Yeah.
I want to do ice cream.
Yes.
I want to do someone who's like making just. I love ice cream.
Yeah.
I think it's levels to ice cream, and I want to get in on that.
Strongly agree.
Oh, you know what would be fire? Somebody who does cheese. Somebody, because I did a tour when I was working at Empire State South. We did a tour at a cheese production facility, and they did sheep's milk only, and they had like a little goat milk as a side hustle. But oh my fucking God, like the things that, but it was many-fold farms actually is where we went. And it's like, they have a tight ship over there. Everything is so like sheep to stainless steel machine. Like, we had to be covered. Like, I've never seen a place so clean in my life as where they process cheese, like real cheese. I'm not talking about craft cheese.
It was like that to a decibel place too. It was
yes.
Like, it was like, come in this room. Here you go. Here's your thing.
It was like it was Naomi Campbell on a plane clean. Like, it was. They didn't play no games, but it was so cool to see the process and to understand how the flavors come. And like, I learned so much that day, and it gave me such an appreciation. It really expanded my palate. I think a cheese episode would be absolutely fire. I would love to do a cheese episode. Yeah.
That sounds great. Well, Neysa, sign us off from season 1 of Cook Til Done.
That concludes season 1 of Cook Til Done. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to be continuing to upload more videos on the channel, and look out for season 2. And yes, I'm treating our YouTube channel like it's network television, because you cannot tell me that it isn't. And for everyone that's supported, and the channel has grown like real person by real person by real person. Like, I see every time somebody subscribes, I see every time somebody comments, I see every time it's shared, and it just warms my heart. Every time someone comes up to me and says, I watched that episode, I remember you from this, like, all that goes such a long way. So subscribe to the newsletter so that you don't miss an update. We send an email once a month, so, we mind our business over here. But get in on the community, because whenever there's a special announcement, it will happen there. And we'll see you on the channel. Bye, everyone.